Hello, I'm Henry Keane. This is News Pulse at UATV. Welcome to the show. Today in the episode, Russia asks for mercy after new successful Ukrainian strikes on the energy sector. Ukraine to supply naval drones to Gulf nations. Zelensky to sum up his visit in the Middle East. It's only the tip of the iceberg. President Zelensky on pressure on Ukraine to withdraw from Donetsk region. Last night, Russian cities of Taganrog and Tolyatti, where chemical plants are located, were hit. Most of the footage is online circulating, showing thick, dark grey plume of smoke. Probably several fire hotspots formed after the drone strike, and the facility ablaze was producing polyamide plastics and synthetic fibers used in electronics by Russian army. Also this night, there were more strikes registered in the Luhansk region in the occupied city of Alchevsk. And not only Ukrainian drones hit a metallurgical plant, and there are also reports about a strike that hits that facility. Well, maybe Russian workers finally are starting to grasp where it all is going, or not. And Ukrainian drones did it again. I mean, Russia's Ust Luga oil terminal in Leningrad Oblast. 7 days ago, it started burning and is burning now as you're watching this for 7 days in a row. Long-range Ukrainian drones caused serious damage. Ust Luga is a key Russian seaport on the Baltic, used for oil exports, including shipments via the so-called Shadow Fleet. Meanwhile, Russia is asking for mercy, even openly sending a signal to Ukraine. In an attempt to save what's left of their energy infrastructure, President Zelensky states Ukraine is ready for Easter ceasefire on one condition.
If Russia is ready not to attack Ukrainian energy, we will not respond on their energy facilities. We are ready for any ceasefire. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine.
Ukrainian forces also struck the plant in Samara region in Russia. As per General Staff of the Armed Forces, the facility was hit by FP Flamingo missile. The destruction of the facility has been confirmed with the following heavy secondary explosion registered in the production area. We're not surprised. The plant was specializing in producing explosive components for bombs and rockets, as much as over 30,000 tons of military-grade explosive annually. President Zelensky has announced that Ukraine has reached a naval drone supply agreement with Gulf nations. The deal focuses on the deployment of naval drones and the construction of multi-layer defense systems. Furthermore, Ukraine is sharing its expertise in reopening maritime trade routes to unblock the Strait of Hormuz, specifically detailing the success of the Black Sea corridor. That and more on the Middle East these days in the following story for you.
Over the course of a month of military operations against Iran, the U.S. military has carried out more than 10,000 strikes on targets inside the country. This was stated by the head of U.S. Central Command, General Brad Cooper, who is responsible for operations in the Middle East. When including Israel's actions, the total number of targets hit is even higher. U.S. President Donald Trump says his country had no choice but to start the war.
What we had to do is get rid of the cancer. We had to cut out the cancer. The cancer was Iran with a nuclear weapon, and we've cut it out. Donald Trump, President of the United States.
One of the main objectives of the operation against Iran was the elimination of the country's top military and political leadership. This goal was achieved on the very first day. As a result of an airstrike, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, was hit. He was effectively the head of state. No major decision was made without his approval. However, Tehran quickly announced a successor, his son, Mojtaba Khamenei. After that, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu threatened the new leader of the Iranian regime as well.
We killed the previous dictator, and the new dictator Mojtaba, a puppet of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, cannot appear in public. I would not take out life insurance policies on any of the leaders of terrorist organizations. He is their patron of terrorism.
The Iranian side, however, is also issuing threats of destruction. It is attacking both military and civilian infrastructure in the region. The countries of the Persian Gulf have suffered, especially the United Arab Emirates, which has endured more than 2,000 attacks. Since the beginning of hostilities, Tehran has launched nearly 400 missiles and over 1,500 drones at targets in the Emirates. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Oman have also come under unprovoked shelling. The increased attacks by the Islamic Republic have also targeted American bases in the Middle East and the region's energy infrastructure. Iranian Shahed-type drones have mainly been shot down using expensive missiles, which is extremely inefficient. That is why the countries of the region and the United States have turned to Kyiv for support. Battle-tested Ukrainian interceptor drones have attracted the interest of 11 states. Ukrainian specialists have been sent to the Middle East to help organize air defense.
228 of our experts are in Qatar, in the United Arab Emirates, and in Saudi Arabia. We are also cooperating with Kuwait and Jordan. I will not disclose the details. For now, we are on the ground. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, answering journalists' questions.
However, one of Iran's main tools of pressure has not only been missile terror. Tehran has also targeted the global economy. Iran has announced the blocking of the Strait of Hormuz, the key artery of world oil supplies. Up to 20% of all global shipments pass through it. According to Reuters, the strait has been partially mined, and Iranian warships have begun restricting tanker movements. As a result, oil prices have exceeded $100 per barrel. In response to the actions of the Iranian regime, Donald Trump threatened direct strikes on the country's energy infrastructure.
If Iran doesn't fully open, without threat, the Strait of Hormuz, within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Donald Trump, President of the United States, on the social network Truth Social.
Later, the U.S. president stated that he is postponing part of the strikes until April 6th, as he is counting on negotiations, which he says are already underway between Iran and the United States. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign ministry denied this information, but at the same time confirmed cooperation with Russia. The president of Iran thanked dictator Putin for his help and support.
President Putin's statements and the support of the Russian people inspire us in this war. The resistance and courage of the Iranian people promise new ties that will ensure the security of Eastern Asia by the countries of the region. Masoud Pezeshkian, President of Iran, on the social network X.
Ukrainian intelligence has found confirmation of Russian assistance to the Iranian regime. In particular, the occupiers continue to share intelligence data with Iran. This was stated by Volodymyr Zelensky. In Europe, there is concern about the cooperation between these dictatorial regimes.
We're deeply concerned about the links between Russia and Iran that have been long-standing in terms of shared capabilities, for example, drones provided to Russia by Iran that have been involved in the conflict by Ukraine, but we have also seen support from Russia provided to Iran in the Middle East conflict as well. And that is why I think as G7 countries we have a shared interest in coming together to discuss these issues and the way that we need to protect our global economy from countries that want to weaponize our economy against us.
Experts note that partnership with Russia strengthens Iran's position and complicates the task for the United States. In effect, this is about the formation of an alternative military alliance that stands against the West, reported by Maria Zheluchenko, UATV News.
Well, maybe there is no easy way to say it, so I'll just say it as it is. Marco Rubio, a 72nd Secretary of the United States of America, the same person who once was calling Russian aggression what it is, unprovoked, today calls President Zelensky a liar.
That's a lie. And I saw him say that, and it's unfortunate he would say that because he knows that's not true, and that's not what he was told. What he was told is the obvious. Security guarantees are not going to kick in until there's an end to a war, because otherwise you're getting yourself involved in the war. Okay? What is a security guarantee? It is troops that are willing to step in and secure. If you put that in place now, that means you're injecting yourself in the war. What he was told very clearly, and he should have understood it, is that the security guarantees come only after there is an end to the war.
Commenting this message, Zelensky noted that he had opened only a small part of the behind-the-scenes talks.
As they say, most of the iceberg is not visible. Believe me, I have shown only a small part. I'm speaking absolutely openly. It can be framed in different ways. Guarantees will be given only after we withdraw from the Donbass. This is currently the condition for ending the war. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine.
So, Russians want Donbass. They killed over 1 million of their own people over it and are ready to kill 1 million more. Russian life is a cheap commodity to the Kremlin, and the Kremlin is craving Donbass, the entirety of the region that in 4 years of this war they did not even manage to capture militarily. That is why they need the United States to put pressure on Ukraine to get what Putin wants, but politically. And this is exactly when those security guarantees become a tool of blackmail. Kyiv has long offered Washington an option to sign security guarantees before the end of this war. The logic is easy to see here: to prepare all the necessary documents in advance so the United States Congress could vote later at the stage of ending the conflict. However, the American side rejects this offer, insisting that both the peace agreement with Russia and the provision of American security guarantees should only be signed after a complete ceasefire. Ukraine is being pushed towards a deal that awards openly Russia for its aggression, granting it the entire Donbas region. Politically, because Russia in 4 years has proven it is not capable of getting it militarily. And if Ukraine is not accepting this big, beautiful Russian deal, the United States will just wash their hands off. And if Ukraine does accept it and just gives away a giant piece of its own land just because Putin wants it and Trump doesn't care, only then America gives its security guarantees. And these security guarantees, are they guaranteeing any security in the first place? Saudi Arabia has long-standing developed relations with the United States. It has American military bases on its territory and has invested years and billions in relations with Donald Trump to build his favorable attitude. In 2025, they signed a defense agreement with the United States with security guarantees signed by Donald Trump. For a month by now, Saudi Arabia has been suffering from Iranian attacks from which the US cannot and does not want to protect its ally. And judging by Trump's recent rhetoric, both in terms of Ukraine or Saudi Arabia, he acts exactly the same, betraying an ally and even openly bragging about it.
He didn't think this was going to happen. He didn't think he'd be kissing my ass. He really didn't. He thought he'd be just another American president that was a loser, where the country was going downhill. But now he has to be nice to me. You tell him he better be nice to me.
Well, while Trump is waiting to be kissed, he also is happy to kiss back. In spite of all American sanctions, the Russian oil tanker Anatoly Kolotkin has arrived in Cuba with 100,000 tons of oil on board, as the Russian Ministry of Transport reports. Earlier, President Trump said he would be open to any country, including Russia, wanting to ship oil to Cuba, despite the US energy embargo. Trump said the shipments would have no effect because, quote, Cuba is finished anyway. Now UATV would like to ask for some help here. We are asking you, our dear audience, to comment in the section below, answering one simple question. Do you think that allowing Russian oil to Cuba, in a direct contradiction to his own sanctions, can be considered kissing Putin's ass already, or not yet? Please, share a thought. Well, that seems to be it for today. My name is Henry Keane. Thank you so very much for your time and attention. We in Ukraine feel it and appreciate it a lot. Please also consider comment, like, and subscription to our channel if you'd like us, UATV, to keep you posted on what tomorrow holds for all of us. And, as always, in Ukrainian perspective, stay safe and tuned for more. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.